Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fuwacast. In this episode, we have a really special edition of it, and we're going to be talking about SoCal Regionals. It's been a little bit over a week since the SoCal Regionals and Gundam Extreme versus Full Boost was there. It was its first major, and we had an amazing tournament there. So we'll also be talking about a little on the initial impressions on Maxi Boost, just a little. We're not going to go through a full change log or everything. I have that all posted up, and I'll put that paste in the description with everything there. So in this episode, I'll be your host, Kirin. Unfortunately, my co-host couldn't make it again due to scheduling and time zone issues. Of course, there's a first day of daylight time, savings as well, so I'm sure everyone's having fun with that. But we have two very special guests with us today. It is Team Baruka Titus in SCR. We have Tari and Nathan, also known as AutomaticCat, your SCR 2014 commentators for Full Boost.
Hey.
What's up?
But yeah, definitely. SoCal Regionals 2014. Just looking back at it, at the tournament as a whole that occurred just a week ago, what do you guys think? How do you guys feel about it?
Well, I thought it was really exciting. It was really nice to see just that many people lined up for a game that I thought wasn't too well known.
Yeah, the turnout was higher than I sort of expected, but overall, I was actually just really excited that it was in a major tournament in the first place.
Yeah, do you guys know the final number? I know we had over 20 teams at the end.
I don't remember the numbers exactly, but we had enough for a fairly full bracket.
Yeah, there was a lot of actual like on-site registrations for that, I believe.
Oh,
I
was
wa-
there?
I want to say there were at least 6 teams per pool, so we probably had 24 teams,
That's a good
somewhere
amount.
around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good number of players. I think second place got like $76 per person. So if I was really interested, I could probably backwards calculate it, but I'm too lazy.
Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, but shout outs to Brett also for streaming that. I mean, that was an amazing setup you guys had at that corner there for Full
Yeah,
Boost.
it's nice to have the setup. We usually use it during dogfights.
Yeah, that NorCal dogfights.
Yeah, it belongs to AJ or
Okay.
Mags, but he couldn't make it down himself, so left it all to Brett.
Shout outs to Mags then, man. Thank you very much for letting Brett use that. I was impressed because you had very few technical difficulties in it. I mean, there were some bumps here and there, but overall it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, I'm fairly impressed that they can get that system working time and time again.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I feel like they can improve on because full boost is such kind of a struggle to set up local play is just like having maybe like one or two more setups as well because we only had two setups there, one off stream and one on stream, but
hmm
it's just one of those things that we'll work on in the future for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just like a hardware limitation at this point.
Yeah, and I guess it's a good and bad problem to have. Uh, But in pool play, we'll get into pool play first. Of course, you have a God and Gunner Zaku team. It's a fairly unconventional team. Tari's on God and Gunner Zaku is you, Nathan.
hmm
Just tell us a little bit to the viewers about your mindset when constructing that team composition and strategy with it.
Strategy wise, it's pretty thin. We both just have a lot of character loyalty,
The
and
team, yeah, the team
yeah,
wasn't composed with any sort of team comp in mind. It was composed based on whether or not we liked our suits.
And I think that's fantastic. I mean, that just says like, screw it, like, play who you want to play as your favorite suits. Any team can really work as long as the guys know your suits well.
yeah. I mean, certainly there's going to be more optimal teams, but I think Tara and I are both under the mindset that if we're not winning, then we're just not good enough yet.
Yeah.
hmm I think that's perfectly fine. That was that your vanilla team in was that your team in vanilla?
Yeah. We strayed to other team compositions later in the game. I think at
Wait,
one point we were playing a lot of Goof Arios.
yeah, the double 1K comp in vanilla was pretty fun.
But it's less viable, even more less viable now in full boost.
How do you guys feel about your overall changes in full boost compared to vanilla? Like, have you guys noticed anything significantly different in how you play your suits?
Well, for one, I play Gunner much more aggressive now. I used to sit far back in green lock and attempt to get OB, but with several of her buffs, I mean, even without her buffs, I think I've been recognizing that my God front needs a little more backup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on my end, I've been working a bit more on just positioning and movement, and I guess more of a game sense. There's a lot more just overall improvement on my gameplay, I would say, rather than specific suit improvements. I mean, don't get me wrong, God's improvements as a suit are really noticeable, God Slash,
Mm-hmm.
but even taking that into account, I think a lot of my gameplay problems stem from me not playing front as strongly as I should be. So
Okay.
we spent some time actually like trying to mess around with playing the suits differently, and I think it helped a bit, but
A bit, but
there's still a long road.
yeah, we still have a lot of fundamental issues. That's okay. That's something that we'll learn over time.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so go a little bit more into detail about like trying to play your suits differently to learn more stuff. Like, are you saying like God is back and Gunner is forward, for example, or?
A little bit of both. Um, with God Slash, he's actually able to play a bit more neutral. It's still not the best, and I'm pretty sure he relies on his Tenkyoken more than his God Slash in neutral. But I definitely try to move forward and consciously vector my opponents.
Mm-hmm.
But it requires me to be able to move and read my opponent better.
Yeah.
So on God's side, in vanilla, he was more of a backsuit than a front suit. Well, even now, I would say he's still more of a backsuit than a front suit, but he actually can play the front role now that he has God Slash and a better God Shadow and all that stuff. But because he was more of a backsuit, and I played backsuits generally in vanilla, uh, moving to the front role sort of messed me up. So it's just taking me a long time to adjust to playing front. I've been forcing myself to play a lot of random 3Ks just to get better at playing front overall.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy too for anyone who's looking to play front. Like push yourselves to a 3K. Like I know it's like a lot of people, especially newer people, feel pressured that like, oh no, I have to stay away from the really high cost suits because I don't want to be a big burden on my partner. Like, do you have any tips for like people who are like kind of still a bit scared to try to work on their game plan to a 3K?
I mean, honestly, playing a 3K and going to the front and duking it out is a really good way to like teach yourself how to deal with high stress situations. Like you have to make snap decisions constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very on the ball with what you're doing. So going to the front on a 3K sort of forces you into that mindset more than trying to play a back position.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously your first life, you don't want to throw your lives away, but there's no reason not to try to go for the 3K and play that position. As long as you're trying to do what you can and you don't throw away your second life as well, I don't think anyone's really going to get all that angry at you.
Yeah, they shouldn't. I mean, as a 3K, like it's expected that like you die first. Doesn't mean you have to like go in and get all your HP down to like a minimum, like immediately. But I don't think anyone's gonna complain. Oh no, my 3K partner died first.
Yeah, I think one thing that people should remember is as the 3K, you sort of want to keep the enemy's team attention on you. So even if you're taking a lot of damage, as long as your partner is still dishing out damage and you're not dying insanely fast, you're actually doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. The game requires you to take risks, and more often than not, especially when you're starting, you're going to be losing a lot of your trades. But it's not a bad thing. You should be taking those risks and consciously deciding what went wrong in that engagement, or possibly if there's a different option. But straying away just because you're scared of it won't help anything.
It's also worth pointing out that even if you play a back suit, generally speaking, I think a lot of people don't realize this, but backsuits end up playing front towards the end of a game. In
Yeah,
the
that's a good
sense
thing to point
that,
out.
like, if your 3K partner is low on health and you're the 2K, you haven't died yet, there's something pretty wrong, because you should probably be moving up and trying to take the point position for your 3K who's dying.
Yeah, just
Oh, yeah.
because you're a support unit and you've taken no to minimal damage, and your partner's already died like once, your 3K partner's already died once, and they're like halfway health, and you're still trying to play a back roll with all your HP, you're not helping anyone in that situation. You have to get attention
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah,
in that
it's very
situation.
important. It's something that I've been learning, or been trying to learn to do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so playing the front position as a 3K helps you on your 2K suits as well, and playing the back position on the 2K helps you when, as a 3K, you have to fall back and try to stay alive. So, I mean, there's no real, only front suits play front or only back suits play back thing. I mean, it's sort of general techniques and fundamentals that help you no matter what suit you're playing. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be flexible with each team you play with. Like you can have the exact same team, like units wise, but the playstyle could be vastly different because of what you're going up against, or you're trying to adjust to your partner's, play style. Like, so you just have to be on the lookout for, just because you play this team, you played with a certain suit like once or twice doesn't mean that it'll always be the same plan every time.
That,
It's very contextual in this game.
yeah, definitely.
So I'll take a moment to talk about my situation at SCR, because I did go to SCR there, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are still kind of confused about what my role was there. So basically, unfortunately, on Saturday, about an hour before pool started, my partner couldn't go because of a family emergency. So what I did there was I got an on-site partner, Hugo 101, and he was fairly new at the game. He played the O, and we talked about this over lunch. I think we thought we did a really good job, just still picking up the game, but really actively trying to learn the game. Like especially every time he played, he said what went wrong, what could have I done better, and I think above all, when you're learning the game, is don't try to blame your partner. Don't try to be too harsh on yourself. Just simply ask people who know what happens. Like, hey, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? How can I improve? And I really appreciate that from him a lot. And
Yeah, that sounds like a really good mindset.
yeah.
just for what it's worth, when we were watching him, I actually wouldn't have guessed he was that new to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have guessed that he picked it up at least a few months in advance. But he seemed like he knew what he was doing, if not lacking a bit experience.
Yeah, and I can because I don't blame him at all, because it's a tournament setting. You don't feel confident in your ability, so of course we saw him, he kind of played a little bit too safe, but that's okay, because he's still learning, and trying to take it all in. So I was what did I use at SCR? I used a little bit new at well. Here's what happened. So at our very first match, because we traded with Jody there from pool 4 to pool 2, I believe. And we went up against Tenkai's team, Tenkai and Nakanya, for our first match, of course, due to the luck of the draw. So that's a really good team. They're a top 8. And so we got pushed to losers from them. And then we won our first match in losers, and then we lost at the second match in losers. So I played new Eclipse phase, and then at the very end, I tried to do a really, really risky thing, is play Stargazer front and try to carry the whole match myself.
And yeah, well,
Almost.
I believe it worked out fairly well.
Yeah, you
Almost.
actually almost brought it back with Stargazer.
Almost. Yeah.
Just needed a couple
Well,
more seconds, but yeah, I mean, I had a blast there, and I don't regret going at all. So
well,
that was
to
just a
your
little bit of
credit,
inspiration. Go for it.
to your credit, a lot of the teams that we thought were going to advance further got knocked out fairly fast too.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to say based purely on your skill. Sometimes extraneous factors come into play, like maybe people are nervous or whatever it might be.
Unfortunately, we also did run into some technical issues towards the end of the tournament. I think we overstressed our router, so it started dropping.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did that come into play during the actual tournament?
Yeah, it was during top 8, towards the latter half of top 8, I believe. We started having actual lag issues.
Oh yeah, we saw the red status bar connections popping up.
Yeah,
here
we
and
got
there.
those every now and then too.
Yeah.
It was pretty unfortunate. We probably should have restarted the router, but we weren't sure what the cause was at the time, and the teams didn't bring it up themselves until after the tournament ended. So
Yeah, a lot of people were thinking to themselves that there might be lag, but they weren't sure if it was just them dropping inputs.
So I think for next time, like I think there should be a time where you guys reset a router every hour or so many matches or stuff, just to maybe bypass the issue.
yeah,
Probably.
it's probably a good idea.
Well,
S-
we'll keep that in mind.
mhm. So aside from top 8, we're not gonna get to top 8 yet. That's a whole different world in itself. But just in pool play, were there any standout teams that stuck out in your minds, like Sadface?
Team Sadface.
What was that? Yeah, Team Sadface was fun.
I mean,
Um,
even though they didn't do well, I just have to point out, like, I think a lot of the point of going to a tournament is to enjoy yourself,
Yeah, definitely.
and they definitely enjoyed themselves.
They were the Turn A and Rosen Zulu to people who are looking through the archives, and it was just a blast watching them play.
We actually got a chance to talk to them. They showed up on a Brett's stream, I think
Mhm.
two or 3 days later, and we were talking to them. And they said they would indeed show up to the next SCR. So here's to hoping we see them again.
Yeah, I told them over Twitter. I was like, they said they're gonna bring more nukes. So I was like, are you gonna do like Turn A and GPO2 or both GPO2s or what?
oh,
Like,
jeez.
you gotta let me in on this. Were there any
We'll
other
see.
non-top 8 teams that stuck out in your minds?
Mm,
Non-top 8 teams. I was pretty happy to see Wing TV show up, but I think there were 2 Wing TV teams. They both got knocked out.
Yeah.
we played one of those teams, didn't we?
We did play one of them. And then I'm a little bit sad. There were a lot of teams with interesting team comps outside of the top 8.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed that none of them made it in, but it was pretty harsh. The pools were pretty tough to get through for a lot of teams. So
Were
Yeah,
there
there were
any
definitely a lot of new people.
Were there any units that you didn't expect to see like here? Like there's some units like you just find
Stargazer?
uncommon.
I honestly was not expecting that pick when you did it.
Like a lot of people who know me, like if I choose Stargazer, that means that like it's either gonna be the match is gonna go by fast. I'm either gonna kill really fast or I'm gonna get killed really fast.
Oh man.
That's basically my Stargazer. Like I call my like I feel like Stargazer has a hidden level 3 X factor in which it does assault at full while having its BC mode up, and like it goes super fast across the field, and like the BC like tracking on it like chases really far too, so it's kind of scary actually.
Yeah.
I think was there an eclipse as well?
I was the Eclipse also, but I think there was also one more Eclipse there.
I'm actually having difficulty remembering.
Yeah.
Like at this point, all I remember was there was a lot of Shi.
Oh yeah.
A handful of Gunner Zakus as well, besides your Gunner Zaku, I believe. I think there's like 1 or 2 more teams that had Gunner Zaku.
Oh, was there?
I think so.
There was a
Go.
what was it? I know there was the girls team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know who they were, but they actually played fairly like decently. So I'm hoping that we'll see them again as well.
Yeah. I think one of them was Freedom and the other was.
I think it was RX.
Yeah. Oh yeah. RX.
I remember specifically RX because she was very intent on using her 5B. But oh well.
Yeah, I hope they see them like anyone who like showed up at this SCR. I hope we see them at like future tournaments, at future SCRs, future anywhere. I mean, I think there's a whole boatload of potential with everyone in this game because the game is so fresh and new to everyone that it's just I'm really interested to see like what people find.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's a shame that we don't have as much practice as Japan.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully we'll get better and better tournaments. So
yeah,
there's a great amount of community effort in the tournament though. Just shout outs to the community, like all around very friendly community and amazing people there. I also definitely want to give a shout out to Kenji, Brett, and a handful of other people that were actually teaching people on the spot how to play the game to like anyone who was interested. Like I know we had the casual off stream setup and also had a single player station set up for anyone who was like like hey, I want to kind of practice with this game, see what it's all about. Like I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it was pretty nice that we actually had that ninth setup available for the single player situation there. It allowed people to like try out suits or try things out. I think at some points Brett actually just sat down with someone and was showing them how to play suits on that station.
Yeah. And also a big thank you for I'll never get his name right because there's no vowels in it. Like Shitikin, the Dustin's founder, SHTKN. Do you guys know how to pronounce it? Because I don't.
It's Shoutouts, I think. Like it's the fighting style from. Is it Street Fighter?
Oh, I don't know anything about Street Fighter.
I don't know.
It's a shame. I actually don't know anything about. I go to these tournaments. I don't know anything about any games except Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's Shotokan.
Okay, Shotokan.
Okay, but we just call him Shitkin though. it annoys him.
Oh man.
But yeah, big shout outs to him for running the brackets there and keeping everything running smoothly, like at a decent pace. Like we were way ahead of schedule, which is why we had that 3-hour break before starting top 8.
Oh, is that why? I thought they just wanted to have all the finals.
Yeah,
well, they scheduled it that way, but I don't think they were planning for us to have that long of a gap.
Yeah, like we just went through pool play really fast because of him. Like it kept on rolling and rolling, making sure that tournament went smoothly. Because sometimes you never know with Gundam matches. Each Gundam match can sometimes take forever to like finish.
Yeah, like later when we got into in the top 8, the games definitely took longer.
We actually had a timeout in top 8, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, we did. We had one timeout. And then people were like, what do we do?
Yeah, timeouts are sort of a strange situation, unique to Gundam. Because there's no, one team wins because of health. No, everyone just loses.
Yeah, everyone just loses.
Yeah, I think we actually weren't sure how to award points in that situation.
The rule of thumb we used to use, I believe the one we use at Dogfight and other previous tournaments, I think was the first time it happens, you just replay, and the second time it happens, everyone gets a point. Unless you win, so.
Is that how it works?
I think that's what we used to do. Like, the first time you time out, it's a rematch, and the second time it times out, then both teams go up a point unless the team is on the verge of winning. It just gets treated as a tie, I think, the second time it happens.
You can't win on a tie.
Yeah, you can't win on a tie.
That makes sense. It's reasonable. So we're gonna get into the big thing that happened at SCR is top 8, and let's just go over the top 8 teams before we get into discussion about them. There was the Crimson Knights with Tenkai and Dekanya with their Red Frame Kai and Reborns. We had Team Eat Meat with Yo-Yo-Lan and Last Innovator with a Kusi and Crossbone X2 team.
I have to apologize to them for misreading their name like 20 times.
How did you misread it?
I totally did see the T, so I kept thinking their name was Eat Meal.
Yeah. Well, the font had like a little tiny cross across on the T. But yeah.
Nice. We had the Spanish Inquisition with Isaiah and Anthony using a Victory Kshatriya team. Wait, was it always Victory, or did they switch up Victory?
It was Kashi or Victory with Kshatriya.
Oh, okay.
I think in top 8 we had 4 teams that used Kashi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Kashi is very popular. I have some minor resentment for that suit just because it's everywhere. It's sort of like how I felt about Full Cloth and Vanilla. But oh well, if people like that suit, then go ahead and play it.
It is a pretty straightforward
good
suit. Yeah. It's quite fun to play. You just mess around and do whatever you want when you throw Minovsky mode on.
Just watch your funnel missiles just track them forever.
But I mean, like, just the things he can do in Minovsky mode are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You can backflip like 10 times straight up into the sky.
Oh my gosh. We had Team Stardust Crusaders with Light Devil and Jody, and they had a Kasi and GPO3 team. Of course, there's you guys, Madoka Titus, with their God and Gunner Zaku Warrior. Double Jeff with the Biter and Acid Ace with their Keradim and Quanta. Merkalot, I believe they're from the Canada.
Yes, I believe they were the only Canadian team in top 8.
Yeah, it was Hayate ZX and Renegade with their Freedom and Unicorn, and then Team Pizza with Haldovich Haldovich and GM Custom with the Unicorn and Sinanju. I don't know which of them were playing which suits.
I believe GM Custom was on Unicorn.
Yeah, I remember
okay.
him. I believe he switched to it when they lost their first round, right?
Right. Hadvich was originally playing Sazabi front or Turnex front. I think he tried both, and then GM Custom took over as Unicorn.
Okay. So, just in general, I think the first match was Crimson Knights and Eat Meat, and of course it's been a week since we these, so I'm not gonna go into too much about the match specifics because you guys already commentated on it. But let's just go break down their teams and their play style for like anyone who didn't like understand why they went with these teams. So first we'll go with Crimson Knights with the Red Frame Kai and Reborns. I think a lot of people were thrown off that 3K was playing as a more of a support style to Red Frame Kai because people were expecting, oh, Reborn should be going in front while Red Frame Kai is support in this.
So that's probably what their team comp actually is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure, but I'm pretty sure Takanya is actually the front player in that situation. But Sean Tenkai, prior to Full Boost, he played Master and he played a front position for almost the entirety of Vanilla Extreme Versus.
Mm-hmm.
So moving into Full Boost, when he switched over to Red Frame to play a backsuit, he still has, I feel like, a sort of aggressive mindset, and he tends to go for very confrontational situations with his backsuit. So he often comes across as the significantly higher threat target.
Yeah. He loves that AC though. He really loves that AC.
He uses it pretty effectively.
Yeah. Like you'll see him like one time and then you'll take your eyes off of him for like maybe 2 seconds and he's right in front of you.
Yeah, he definitely likes to go full blow on people.
It's actually pretty interesting because there are a lot of situations in the game where you have a chance of winning a confrontation. It's sort of like gambling. You have like maybe a 60% chance of winning or like landing safely. And most players will opt to, maybe not take the 60% and go for like the 80% chance or, a safer landing. I think more often than not, you'll see Sean go for the low percent chance.
Yeah, but it pays off. It pays off big for him, though.
You're right. Those are really high risk, high reward gambles.
Yeah, it was. I always have fun watching his Red Frame Kai go to work because that guy can slice through HP like no other, really fast. He knows those Red Frame. Like the thing I like about his Red Frame Kai is like he keeps his combos fairly simple and short, like so he doesn't get the threat of cutting isn't too high for him.
Yeah, it's important to know, especially when you're a melee back, to know when using your fancy high damage combos is appropriate, or when you should use something quick and to the point for a knockdown.
Yeah, Tari. Like with God, for example, like just to anyone who's since you people who usually pick up God try to go for a more fancy high damage combos, but it takes a long time to actually finish. What just a little tips on what you can give them to like prioritize, not like mitigating damage to you first instead of trying to get high damage on them right away.
It's pretty important for, I feel, any melee suit to know which moves they can end combos with. Because a lot of people will try to go for combos and then realize, well, I'm about to get hit, so I don't want to be here anymore, and they leave. But they leave the person they were hitting standing there, so the guy just shoots them in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty important to know what moves actually end combos. So on God, for example, his boost dash melee, the flying sidekick,
right,
is an untechable hit. So if you hit the opponent with it, you can leave, and they are unable to do anything to you.
Yeah, and that gives you like momentum during that at the end of that as well, because you're still moving, so you can actually just like step out of that or boost dash out of that. So while that enemy's still flying there, not being able to do anything, it's actually pretty hard to cut that as well because you're still moving during that finisher.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I mean, from like a basic standpoint, you want to try to keep your combos limited to very short amounts of hits. Some suits are better at it. For example, Quanta, you can do a lot of hits because his boost dash melee makes him move a lot. But for example, on God Gundam or Red Frame, they don't move all that much when they're doing their combos. So you want to do something simple, something fast, and preferably something that doesn't use all of your boosts.
Yeah. And then the winners of the tournament, Eat Meat with Yo-Yo Lan and Last Innovator had a Cassie and X2. I found this team to be really unusual. Like I don't see this team that often at all in like even Japanese play. What do you guys think made this team work so well together?
So they started off with Reborn's X2, and I think I'm not sure which one of them was playing front, but the Reborn switched to Kashi, I think, because they were facing so many Kashis.
Yeah, Yo-Yo Lan is the Reborn was the Reborn's player who switched to Cassie.
Yeah, but I mean, I liked his Reborns, but in that situation, I think he probably felt more comfortable fighting fire with fire. So
Yeah.
It paid off for them though. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, the Cassie is a really tough suit to fight. Like if you're not playing his range, then you're gonna get blown up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to
Oh.
think of like what's Cassie's like. What like when you're fighting Cassie, what general area do you actually want to be around? Because it seems like Cassie has like a pretty like comprehensive control of like almost the range game.
the mid range against him is actually pretty decent to stay in. There's a lot of danger because of his missiles and his partner like putting pressure on you when you're trying to land in that area, and it puts a lot more stress on you to stay there. But Kashi actually doesn't have the fastest firing BRs, or like his missiles don't travel all that fast either. So generally speaking, the mid range is pretty decent. You just don't want to be forced to block there because blocking anything from that suit is pretty much death.
Yeah. Like you'll be blocking funnel missiles, and then it's like, no, you stop funnel missiles on your side, get blown up.
Yeah. Or if you block his BR, you have a high chance of being hit by his missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't block a C.
Yeah.
Period.
It's not too hard to maneuver around Kashi. Though it's important to watch out for his Minovsky mode,
Mhm.
because when he's that much more boost efficient than you, it's difficult to dance around him.
He also moves, I want to say, almost 2 times faster with Minovsky mode on. He moves very, very fast with Minovsky mode on. So trying to figure out where he's going to land or where he's going in general can be more difficult when he has it actually active.
Does
Yeah,
he?
I know that.
Oh,
you go first.
does he gain anything else besides another Garaby? Like from 1 to 2, I know he gets that. Then Minovsky is there anything else added to his arsenal?
He gets more funnel missiles
Oh,
every time he deploys them. I think it's an extra like, I want to say extra like 5 to 8 missiles. I don't know the exact number. And then I believe his red lock increases a little. That's what people have told me. I'm not completely sure. And he
Yeah,
gets the command dashes, which replace his boost dashes, and he can use them to cancel out of pretty much anything.
which I never see anyone use them.
Yeah, you generally won't see players use them. It's actually sort of unfortunate that we don't see players using them. I've been telling people to use them. I think I actually convinced Isaiah to use it a couple times during the tournament. But they're very effective actually. You can even like cancel out of your Garaby with them. And the fact that you can do upward movement using Minovsky dashes is pretty annoying for opponents to deal with.
How do you do those actually? The upward movement in Minovsky
Yeah.
mode.
So the Minovsky dash input is just his BC.
Mhm.
BC turns on Minovsky mode, and then while it's active, BC is command movement.
Oh,
So
okay. I thought it turned it
any
off.
no, yeah. So any direction you input while you're doing that causes him to slide in that direction.
Okay.
And while he's doing any of these slides, he is always facing the opponent. So he can't even do out of angle shots while he's doing the slides.
Sheesh.
And a neutral one just makes him do a backflip upward.
Ah, all right, all right. I'm not getting a little mad. I'm sorry, Nathan. Like I cut off your thought. What were you trying to say earlier?
No, that's fine. I don't remember at this point.
Oh,
It was probably just a small addition. Don't
okay.
worry about it.
All right. Um, so a little bit outside Casino. Okay, so Crossbow next 2. I know I already have several friends who really want to pick up Crossbow next 2 after seeing Last Innovator put work at Crossbow next 2 at SCR. What do you guys think makes Crossbow X2 such a great support unit this time around? Because it was 2500 vanilla, 2000 now. What significant little like changes did they make to Crossbow X2 to really boost its effectiveness in that support role besides the cost decrease?
Well, I would say that one of the biggest changes is the cost. But overall, X2 is just a very powerful support unit. He has really high survivability on his own. His sub, for example, is incredible at stopping him from getting hit. Even on trades, it usually ends in his victory. So X2 has really good survivability. He has a stun bit as well, which tracks incredibly well, as all stun bits do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a noticeably long red lock range for a 2K suit. To be fair, he is a range-based 2K suit, so it makes sense. But
He also has the cloak as well to even
Right.
boost his survivability even more.
yeah, I was going to say that as well. In
Yeah.
addition to all of that, he has the cloak, so if he messes up at range, he actually generally won't lose. It helps that it's also refillable.
Yeah. It's also interesting that he can do some interesting cancels with his cloak. I'm actually not too aware of them, but people keep telling me that.
He can use his cloak to fast fall out of angle shots.
I see.
Spanish Inquisition had. Wait, okay, so Isaiah switched to Victory, but who was he using first again? Kashi, of course. Okay, so we're gonna talk. We already beat Kashi down to the ground, pretty much. So we're gonna focus on Victory and Kshatriya then. Wait, did Isaiah switch from Kashi to Victory, or was it the other way around?
Actually, I think he switched from Kashi to Victory.
He ended the tournament on Victory, but I believe he started on Kashi, and then he played Victory, and then he played Kashi, and then he played Victory again.
Identity
I'm actually
crisis.
not sure. I'm not sure what the motivation for the switches were.
I believe part of the motivation for the switch at the very end, he said later, was he wanted to get fewer missiles on the map because the game was lagging.
Oh god.
Right.
So there you have it. That's why Victory was chosen, just to limit funnel missiles on the map. That sounds
The game
terrible.
apparently the game was having a lot of issues dealing with two Kashis spamming missiles at each
Oh
other,
my
plus
gosh.
Kshatriya funnels.
Holy shit! Wow. I never thought that was actually gonna lag the game a bit with that.
Yeah, apparently in vanilla, I've never tested this myself, but I've been told by a number of people that if you opened a room with 4 double Zetas and had all of them do nothing but shoot missiles, the game would crash.
No way.
Apparently so.
Wow. I don't want anyone trying this when I'm in the lobby. You guys can go try it in your own little lobby. I don't want to be in it. Watch, we're gonna be like, come into our room, man. We have a surprise for you. No, just get my PS3 to yellow light because of it. That's
Oh
fine.
man.
I don't know too much about Victory in terms of like trying to play it well. I'll be the first to admit I'm not the best Victory player. What do you guys think about Victory in this game?
I don't know if there's been many changes to Victory in this game. He's still a solid suit. Do you know anything about it, Tari?
I mean, I don't think he's changed all that much either, honestly. He's pretty similar to how it used to be. Generally speaking, he just has a lot of very scary and fast pressure when he puts on his AB mode.
Yeah, all his projectiles come out extremely fast and they hit really hard.
Yeah.
He also has, I think, is it 2 or 3 different Garobis? I don't know. Anyway, he has a lot of Garobis and random things he can throw at you.
I believe it's 2. When he's in full assault, he has the wide
Split shot.
like 4-shot beam, and then
he has the charge shot A or something, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty scary suit. But if you can deal with the speed, then it's not that much different than a vanilla suit.
The main problem with it is when he has his Assault Buster on, pretty much all of his shots are the equivalent of charge shots from any other suit. So getting hit by him while he's in that mode hurts a lot, and you really don't want to be hit by him.
Yeah, just a one ace shot in Assault Buster mode will instantly get you down from
It downs you and it does over 100 damage in one shot, and it's very fast, so
It's really scary.
Yeah, it is. For the longest time, I had problems fighting against Victory, but at a certain point, you realize that they don't really come in that close, so you can block his shots fairly easily without him being able to circle around you or something like that.
When they do commit, though, it's pretty scary.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that can be troublesome.
One of the more beloved suits in this game. I don't know how many Kshatriyas were in the tournament actually, or if it was just Anthony using it.
There was at least one more.
Okay, but Kshatriya I think speaks for itself in this game. I mean, 2,000 and you have border patrol fences everywhere with it now.
Yeah, Kshatriya became really good in full boost. They give her, I think, actually a little too much.
Kshatriya got buffed a significant amount. There was the cost reduction, improved fences, Amikans. She got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, her Garabi is now mapped to an actual button instead of a charge shot now too.
Right.
So you can safely throw those out while still having your other arsenal intact. You don't have to commit to a Garabi now. It's always there for you.
She actually, pretty much, she also, because of that, she has a way to confirm cross-map fence hits into damage now.
Yeah, that's scary.
Like, it used to be, oh, I hit them on the other side of the map with that fence, what do I do? But now it's, oh, I hit them on the other side of the map with that fence, it's time to Garobi.
I can't think of any suits in which Kshatriya doesn't work well with, honestly.
Kshatriya works well in general. She has some problems when the enemy team isn't respecting the front suit, because she needs to take advantage of the enemies being a little bit disorderly or landing badly, or generally just moving in situations or in directions where she can actually fence them and punish them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she's not working to her full potential. I'm not saying that she won't work in those situations, but she's not taking full advantage of her tools.
That's why you'll never really ever see Kshatriya as a front suit. Like her, everything she has is not for a front at all.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, if she's ever forced into a front position, then it usually becomes a kiting neutral game.
Or the Kshatriya goes for hugs.
Oh yeah, give me a hug.
She has some of the best best melee in terms of just making you sad you got hit.
I do feel pretty sad every time Kshatriya confirms me in melee though, because like all her melee animations like just look really funky, even outside the hug, like just spinning around with the blades.
It doesn't look like it's good melee, but her melee, like, it might surprise some people. Her melee is actually not bad. It comes out at a fairly reasonable speed, and I mean, it has a decent hitbox, so she can hold her own in a melee fight, regardless of how strange it looks.
Stardust Crusaders, once again, we like to see, and a GPO3. And I know Jody actually switched over to a GPO3 from, what was the suit that he was using? Dynamis? Right, did he ever say why he switched over?
Usually if he's playing GPO3, it's because it's too stressful to play any other suit.
Yeah. GPO3 is a fairly stress-free suit for the most part.
Yeah, it is his relaxing suit.
Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's much to like GPO3's strategy instead of playing support and like unloading your arsenal on people. Is there anything more to it than that?
There's a little bit of technique involved in avoiding getting hit, like when they're on top of you and you're trying to get away. He has some unique movements available to him with his chain mines.
Oh yeah, I saw some really fancy movement from him with the BC special movement.
Yeah, he did a good job running away.
Yeah.
But that aside, the suit is pretty straightforward.
Especially with the Garabi tracking. Not tracking, but like the muzzle correction on this Garabi's dumb.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
Fortunately, if he does it next to you, you can walk up to him and it won't hit you.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you're inside the barrel when it fires, then it won't hit you because the projectile originates from the tip of the barrel.
That's really funky. I need to try that
it looks really silly. You can actually sometimes you'll see them try to use it as like an anti-melee option. and you'll see people forward rainbow step into him to get past the Garroving, and it looks very strange.
That sounds amazing. But so Dynamis, generally Dynamis has been, I think he's been improved from vanilla to full boost. Do you
Oh
guys
yeah,
know,
definitely.
do you guys know exactly how a Dynamis player's mindset is? Of course he's a support suit, but just like in tournament play or competitive play as a Dynamis player, how do you guys feel about that?
Dynamis. Well, I don't want to say that anymore. He used to be more reliant on his front suit gathering attention because he primarily punishes landings, from what I understand.
He's still a pretty hard backsuit in terms of the role he plays. He spends a lot of his time still punishing landings, but his normal main has improved noticeably, and his charge shot is very good. So he has, I should say, the tracking on all of his stuff is pretty good now. So he has a much easier time dealing with people trying to get to him. He can just sort of like move away from them and then shoot them as they're approaching. So
Yeah, in vanilla, his main was terrible. It had little to no muzzle correction, and then little to no guidance. So you essentially had to perfectly predict where they're landing to maybe hit one.
In full boost, you'll see players partitioning their charge shot with their main more often because the main is actually useful. And then you'll also see. Somehow I totally lost my train of thought.
Partitioning their main.
What was it I was saying?
Does it have to do
Oh,
with?
and then his charge shot got buffed in damage as well, if I recall correctly.
I didn't.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, his charge shot that now does a little bit more damage.
Was it always like this? But like I feel like a full charge shot A like travels much faster now compared to vanilla. Like that thing like comes out like the bullet is actually traveling at a really high speed.
I'm actually not sure if they've changed it all that much. It's always traveled fairly quickly.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just imagining something. I just want it to be like a lot better than it actually seemed before.
Yeah, I don't know if it actually travels any faster. It might have better tracking because in general his tracking, the guidance on his shots was improved, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as movement speed, I don't know.
Okay. On the other side of the coin, with Double Jeff, with Keradim and Quanta, a lot of people, I know still a lot of people are still saying that like Dynamis and Keradim are like almost the same suit. Like, I feel that like they have enough tools to say that they're completely, you don't play them the same way. Like, sure they had the same role, but you don't play them the same way in my opinion.
They don't play the same
Yeah.
even vaguely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit closer in vanilla, but I think that they've added a few things to both suits. It's widened the gap even more.
Yeah, it's more clearly defined their roles in a team composition. In vanilla, it was more like Dunamis was sort of this slower, more unwieldy Keradim
Mm-hmm.
that had melee options. Whereas now Dunamis is more of a mid-range, like fast support role, and Keradim is playing this very dedicated sniper role now.
And Biter's Cherudem is great. I mean, he was landing shots fairly consistently with Cherudem, like really punishing landings for Acid Ace in his Quanta. Like I think Acid Ace's Quanta had one of the easiest times to go in for melee in that tournament because of the support.
Yeah, there was a lot of underestimation in terms of, I think a lot of teams ran into issues when they saw all of the shield bits coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a lot of lack of attention paid to Jeff's Keradim, which cost a lot of teams, unfortunately.
Yeah, that definitely happened.
Yeah, don't sleep on Cherudem. Like if you see it like roaming around the border of the map, and don't think that just because it's there doesn't mean you shouldn't pay attention to it. That's exactly where it wants to be.
So it's actually pretty interesting that I believe I didn't see a single team for the Keradim.
Really?
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember anybody actively trying to Fuwa step, or just not Fuwa step, just like Fuwa hop the Kirin, because that probably would have just stopped them from being hit.
Yeah. And then those who don't know, like there's just fooling is just like a little small hop before you hit the ground, and generally that messes up Cheridim's shot. Just if you just delay your landing just a little bit, so the shot hits the ground instead of where you're gonna be at.
Yeah, Kirin has to choose to fire when he thinks you're going to hit the ground. So if you do a hop, it just won't hit you. It sucks for Kirin.
Yeah, it helps that he has 3 shots now because he has a little more leeway, but it's still essentially the same.
Yeah, and it especially works well with Quanta's favor because, like you guys were saying earlier, he has shield bits, he has his sword bits to help him out. So I mean, from a range perspective, like it was hard to even get a hit on him. Like the only time like I feel like Acid Ace's Quanta was like really in danger was like when he had only sword bits up and like you were playing like a melee centric suit. And even then, Quanta's melee game is great.
Quanta's melee game is pretty good. It has really good range on it, but it has a lot of weaknesses to it as well, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Quanta's melee shines most after he hits you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think Team Double Jeff, one of the last SoCal teams representing at SCR up in the top 8, did a fairly good job. They got pretty close. I think they were 3rd place.
Yeah, I believe they made it to 3rd.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm rooting for them next time when they do show up at a tournament again.
Well, Eat Meat was technically SoCal.
Are they? Are they technically really? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think they're international students, but they are at SoCal.
Okay, so we'll just pretend that they're representing SoCal too. So there we go. SoCal actually won SCR.
I mean, if you don't put it that way, you're just gonna say like the entirety of the U.S. lost to like international. So
Okay, right. SoCal won. That's it. Merkelot, once again, the last Canadian team, I believe, at top 8 with their Freedom and Unicorn. I think it's a fairly straightforward team in terms of what they were doing at top 8. There's not much to say, like, because Freedom is your versatile support unit that has really good like close range options if necessary at that. But in general, you saw Freedom. You saw Unicorn just pushing the situation, getting the attention a lot, especially when they went NTD mode. Like you saw a lot of crazy chases with its boost dash forward melee with any Unicorn.
if I recall correctly, their final match was against GM Customs team.
Oh yeah, that's when GM was using Unicorn.
Right, and those were some very close games. I think all of their games came down to every player being touch of death situation.
Yeah.
Those were some pretty nail biter games.
But Unicorn in this game, like in general, in its competitive presence, it's no longer just press A the suit. It's not a Persona 4 Arena character anymore.
Oh yeah. They that's another suit that received a lot of buffs.
Yeah, they improved on Unicorn quite a lot.
He's really scary now.
Like they nerfed his most useful tool in vanilla, but in exchange, it's NTD, like him in NTD mode is amazing now. Like that thing will zip around everywhere.
Yeah, his NTD mode is very, very scary right now, and even in Unicorn mode, he's got access to Amikyans off of his assists now, and they're quite good.
Mm-hmm. In Team Pizza, I know were they always at you guys reminded me. It was Sazabi then Sinanju, right?
Yes.
Were they rolling with a double? No, they weren't rolling with a double 3K. When he was at Sazabi, who was the other partner's suit?
I think he was playing. Was he playing Rose and Zulu or?
With GM?
Right. It was Sazabi, and then the back suit was.
It might have been Delta.
Yeah, it might have been Delta.
Yeah, that sounds right. So we'll go over their first team, Sazabi and Delta Plus. Or not, I mean, wait, no, Sazabi and Delta Plus. Okay, I'm getting the names mixed up. They're so similar, and they like look similar too, so it's just messing me
Yeah.
up. Damn it. I don't know too much about Sazabi until, and like I used to main Delta Plus in vanilla, the early days of vanilla, but I haven't really touched it that much in full boost. But I know it's a much better suit. Well, not much better suit, but it's just the way the full boost game has changed. Like it works in Delta Plus's favor now more so than before.
Yeah,
Can you
the range game in general is better now.
yeah. Can you let people in on like just the general strategy with a Sazabi and Delta Plus mechanic that Team Pizza was using in top 8?
Well, Sazabi is a noticeably powerful front right now. He has this, his charge shot A allows him to fast fall to the ground out of his melees. So what you see very often is Sazabi does whatever, he wants to do during a Zunda battle or a BR battle. And at some point he just does a melee into charge shot A and he falls. And the charge shot A is a shotgun shot that downs you if you get hit by more than, I want to say, about a third of it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get hit by enough to down you, you get staggered, so he gets a free landing on you and he keeps moving. Beyond that, he also throws out funnels, and Sazabi's funnels are arguably the scariest funnels in the entire game.
You think so?
When you get hit by them, you stagger twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. Alright.
Scariest funnels to actually be hit by, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it leaves you
They're-
vulnerable for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are funnels that are significantly more annoying or stressful to deal with, I would say, like Kshatriya funnels and fences.
Mhm.
But Sazabi's funnels, when you get hit by them, that's one of those moments where you just grimace immediately.
And Delta Plus, I don't know too much about Delta Plus changes, but how do you feel about Delta Plus and full boost now? If you guys know anything about the Delta Plus game.
He plays really similarly to how he used to play in vanilla. I mean, I don't think his game plan has actually changed all that much. It's just that his movement options and his ability to deal damage have not really dropped off either. So he just plays this very strong support role with his Amikons and his MA mode and his MA mode bazooka and all of his tools. He has a lot of options available to him as a backsuit, and they haven't gone away. So
Yeah, I think I think a Delta Plus is one of the more underrated backsuits in this game in terms of presence, because a lot of people will say, of course we'll recommend like RX-78-2 and F-91 as good beginner suits, but I think Delta Plus is also a really good beginner suit as well for people learning that back roll because they have such a good arsenal that accompanies it and a reloadable BR with them.
So I think part of the reason he's not recommended as a backsuit is because he has too many tools.
Okay.
And the reloadable BR is a very nice thing to have as a backsuit. Like it's one of the reasons Delta Plus is so annoying to deal with when he's playing back as your opponent. But for a beginner player, if they're not comfortable with the fundamentals of the game, they might get used to having a reloadable BR, which will ruin their ammo management.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think the only reason the suits that were suggested as beginner suits, for example, RX or F91, the reason they're suggested as beginner suits, I believe, is because they don't have that many tools. They're very vanilla. So their gameplay is usually quite fundamental. I mean, F91 has Meepy mode, so he has his own thing, but RX is pretty straightforward and bland.
Well, even with the Meepy mode, I don't think beginners really know how to use it appropriately.
Yeah, I think it's more like I'm in trouble, I need to run away card for beginners.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, I have this tool that like no one will pay attention to me when I activate it. So
Yeah, but when players start moving up a little, I think Delta Plus is a very good choice for them to like get acquainted with more advanced techniques, because he has Amikon and MA mode, and he is still a 2K suit, so it allows you to transition into other modes of gameplay more freely.
okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Is there anything else you guys wanted to have any final thoughts on the top 8 for full boost SCR?
I'm still surprised that the winners were pad players.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
that's right. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, I mean, more power to them.
Do you guys know if they just stuck with the normal pad config, or do they have like a special like config like so to make say charge shots more um, less stressful in pad play?
I'm not sure actually.
Yeah,
I-
we didn't ask them.
Wait, we probably should have. It didn't come to mind. I was just.
Oh
stuck
yeah,
on
everyone was
things playing on a
excited.
pad.
Mhm. But that's really cool that pad players did win. So the pad to all pad players out there, don't get discouraged. I mean, this is one of the most pad friendly games out there.
It was actually pretty entertaining. We allowed pads. Obviously, we allowed pads at the tournament, and apparently SCR didn't have any rules against wireless controllers.
hmm
So during casuals, there was a point where Isaiah from team
Stardust
Spanish
Crusade.
Inquisition.
Oh no, Spanish Inquisition. That's right.
There you go.
Yep.
He was playing casuals and he lost control of his suit. Apparently he was sitting there doing things and suddenly his suit just like started running off and doing charge shots and just doing whatever it wanted, and there was a lot of confusion, and it turned out that somebody was playing with their controller like 20 feet away. He was just standing there spectating, and he was like fiddling with his controller while he was doing it, and it was controlling Isaiah's suit on the casual system.
Oh, is that what happened? I thought that his suit was or that his controllers was bindered wrong.
Nope, it was literally somebody else had a wireless controller that took control of the game.
Nice.
Oh, man, NTD hack.
Right, so fortunately that didn't come up in any actual matches, but obviously that's part of the reason normally wireless controllers are banned at tournaments. And I mean, I'm glad we didn't run into any issues. Like, as long as people take care to not let that happen during actual matches, there would never be a problem. But it was pretty entertaining.
So one of the biggest things that people always have trouble with, especially now in SCR, because SCR had great turnout and a lot of spectators. Actually, I'll go into spectators first. I really found it interesting. Okay, we had like about a little over 1,000 viewers on Twitch, and that's amazing. Like, I'm so happy that people took the time to like watch Gundam during SCR, and that's a great turnout number for that. But I'm really impressed that there were on the Restream, the Nico Restream for this from Asagi Lab, was
Shout out to Asagi, by the way.
Shout out to Asagi. You guys are awesome. I am big fans of you guys. But they had 3,000 viewers from Japan on the tournament. That's insane.
I was told at one point they actually hit 6,000.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, apparently earlier they were at 6,000.
Oh my god. That's insane. I mean, shout outs to Japan. Like, thank you.
I'm not sure what motivated them to watch our gameplay.
I'm not sure
I mean,
either.
We're probably terrible compared to their standards.
I hear like from people who were at the Nico Restream, like just watching the chat, like, you know, outside of people saying that like a lot of top players are free, they're saying that a lot of people are saying, whoa, like Americans like play this game and they're enjoying it, and they were like very surprised at that.
I think a lot of people were just enjoying the overall atmosphere of the tournament. There was a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
I remember specifically I was watching the Nico Restream later on of the Team Sadface game. And the comments were pretty great. There was this one point where Rosenzulu does this melee combo, and I remember being very surprised by the melee combo myself because it looked really cool. And it was a very, very like legitimate melee combo. And
that one.
That one.
Yeah.
And then the Nico comments, like after he does the melee combo, there are a bunch of comments that pop up on Nico that are just like, that Rosen Zulu did a very nice melee combo, or I like that combo. It's just like it was pretty great.
I also remember that Rosen Zulu also did an EX burst attack that hit both opponents, I believe.
Right.
It didn't. Not only was it a double hit, it was double kill.
Well, was it?
It didn't kill Freedom.
Oh, it didn't?
Oh.
No, but it did 270 damage to XC and it put him in repair mode instantly.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Freedom went from like 400 to 100.
Yeah.
Those are like the best plays in that, like for them. I mean, it was just besides turn A nuke, cancel it to turn A nuke.
I think one of the most amazing things though was that not only did he land that super in that game and pretty much end the game with it, But even against Team Merkelot when they were fighting, he still got his super and got a kill with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things that like you don't ever expect. It's like no way, and it's like wow.
Frozen Zulu's super is actually one of the most like surprising supers in the game. If you aren't aware he's doing it, it's just suddenly there's this huge green spinning ring thing at you.
Yeah.
How's the
He's in
startup on
Zeon.
it?
It's pretty long.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty long. You
I
have
think
enough time as like any melee suit to do like a full 3 melee rainbow steps before it comes out.
He has to do like a spin, and then it comes out as like a thin Garobi, and then it fans out.
Yeah, he does a spin and then he like puts his hands to his chest and then he raises his arms and then it comes out.
That's pretty great.
Yeah,
Shout
I
out
think
once again.
Zeon's is faster and it's quite similar.
You wait, Zeong's super?
Super?
No, Zeong's is like that 20 Garobi.
Yeah, but I mean like
shotgun.
it's got a similar effect.
I guess. I guess.
Yeah, but once again, shout outs to Sagi Lab and all the Japanese viewers of SCR. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to join in on our first major tournament in North America for Full Boost. Sure, we're not like super pro yet, and you guys only had like a 2-year head start, but we're gonna catch up. We're gonna learn. We're gonna learn, and we're gonna apply everything, and you'll see us at ranked and player matches and Japanese lobbies that hopefully won't let us get kicked out like immediately, and we'll show you guys that we can play. We can play.
Hopefully you guys tune in for the next one too.
Yeah, I mean, any support for this game is more than welcome. We don't care where you're from. I mean, we all share the same passion about this game. So, I want to get into challenges of spectating and commentating this game, because a lot of people are just amazed at like how can the commentators and spectators like keep up with this game with 4 players having 4 different screens and from 4 perspectives, like going all at once. Like, just tell us a little bit about like any strategies and tips you guys can give people, like so they don't feel so overwhelmed. Whether they're interested in commentating the game or just viewing the game and not getting bombarded.
Well, it's important to know like the overall flow of the game, and like that when certain suits are further back, there's probably less interesting things that are going to be happening to them. But that said, I can't say for sure if I can give great advice because that was actually my first time commentating as well.
I think you did a really good job. I mean, I would have never guessed that's your first time commentating Gundam.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice, Tari?
Well, I mean, I didn't really do Gundam commentary much prior to this either. So, I don't know, like, I think generally speaking from like a spectator point of view, not from like a commentary point of view, but from a spectator point of view, I think it's easiest to choose one suit that you actually want to watch and just watch it. Like, if you actually want to see the details of gameplay, you probably want to just watch one player's screen. But if you just want to see the game as a whole, then it's easier to sort of look at both of the front suits.
Mm-hmm.
Because the back suits tend to play sort of farther back, so they have a better view of, the overall vision, overall like field of battle. But the front suits are usually where all the action is happening, so it lets you get to the point faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to just don't try to push yourselves when like trying to commentate the game and like feel like you have to get every single little detail down of what every suit is doing. That's one way to tire yourself out and make your commentary game for this game like really convoluted and hard to follow. Like what they were saying, like recognize who are the front suits in each team and just pick one of them. Don't try to view both of them at once at first, and just work on commentating what that front suit is doing that you're spectating. And also, if you see like any cuts from like a support player, that's the time to like say, okay, this suit has cut this person to prevent any further damage, etc. So that's the time. Like I feel like that's the only time really you should focus on the support at first in commentating the game.
Right. Like usually you don't pay that much attention to support unless they are engaged in the battle.
Mm-hmm. Like if they're getting chased down.
Yeah, or if
example.
they're getting chased down. If they're getting chased down, it's actually pretty good to look at the person getting chased rather than the person doing the chasing.
Yeah. Because it's always very interesting, way more interesting to viewers on how a person getting chased down avoids that situation. Like what kind of crazy thing they're gonna try to get out of that situation. Because that's very high stress right there.
Right. Those situations are very high stress, and most of the weight of the situation falls on the player who's trying to run away rather than the player who's chasing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because more often than not, they're being chased because they have low HP.
Sometimes the other team will try to go for an overcost, and they will very gung ho aim for the back suit. That can lead to some stressful situations. But if the front player can recognize that, he usually is able to capitalize on it and move around freely and do a lot of big damage.
I think it's really cool that you guys, this was like basically your guys' first time commentating the game, and like I think a lot of people felt very confident in the way you guys were commentating it because like you guys went into it not really having that much experience yet. You guys still went with it and did a fairly good job. So I don't want to. I think that's a good example of like people who are hesitant to try. It's like just try it. I mean there's no harm in trying it and like working on it because but yeah I seriously think that a lot of people really like your commentary dynamic for the game and it made the chaos much more manageable and more easier to consume for viewers. Yeah.
Okay. I'll hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yeah. But I think is there anything else you guys want to add to SCR besides come out next time? Like any tournament that any event that has like Gundam near you, like you should go for sure. It's an experience. It's like you won't get that often either. I mean, it's all I feel like it's a whole. It's not that different from a fighting game environment, like in tournament presence, but the way how people interact, especially since the 2v2 aspect, you can really see how people cooperate against another team. Like you'll see a lot of people doing like high fives or handshakes after every game, even if like one person blew it and like admit like they made a lot of mistakes. Like there's a lot of like positive reinforcement from their partners. It's not like online net play for some people like who like get salty as hell and like it's like it was my partner's fault and everything. No, it's like there's a lot of positive energy and reinforcement there. It's like people understand the struggle. Like there are a lot of people that can relate, to that painful loss or mistakes, etc.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just as a whole, like going to SCR, I was really happy to see that turnout. And I mean, it's the first major tournament for Gundam, so I'm hoping we get a lot more major tournaments that host Gundam in them as like an actual primary game. But putting that aside for the moment, I think part of the problem with Gundam as a tournament game is that it is a team game, so you can only enter as pairs.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
So it's harder to convince people necessarily to make the trip there because when they're playing solo, like, for Blaze Blue or Street Fighter or any one of those other games like Marvel, you get a bunch of people together. They're not playing as pairs, so it's just people who are interested in going to this tournament and participating as solo players. So it's easier to organize, a group of people making that trip. But when everyone needs a partner to actually enter the tournament, I think it's harder to overall get the players to the location. So I'm hoping we can overcome this just with, more tournaments, more hype, bigger pots. But yeah, I mean, we'll see in the future, but here's the hoping.
I mean, we're barely like a little bit over a month of this. This is still a fairly young game for everyone. So I think that it is in its favor right now to have that expansion going for it, and just got to work on it. It's a like a long-term plan.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, the game is fun. People should just try the game if they've never tried it before.
Yeah, definitely. So with SCR now aside, and I don't know if is there any other future events in the horizon with Full Boost? I don't know exactly if you have any NorCal events going on there.
I mean, we have what is it, NCR, but I don't think Full Boost is listed, or I mean, I don't even think we have a game list for it yet, but we'll see if we can get Full Boost in there.
Best of luck. I mean, that'd be super awesome if you guys were able to get it in there.
Yeah, the next tournament I know that we're going to have Full Boost at it's at the very least going to be a side tournament at Evo because it's pretty much always been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully this time it'll be a bit more interesting. I wasn't there at the last Evo, but I heard that the last Gundam tournament was lackluster.
There were technical difficulties. So far at Evo, we've had technical difficulties every year, but it's been improving. So hopefully this year will be better.
What happened last Evo, like with technical difficulties?
It went so the first Evo like 2 years ago that we had it at, there were a lot of difficulties getting the setup up in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But last year the setup went up pretty well and the games were progressing at a decent clip. But I want to say somewhere around halfway through the tournament, we started having sudden drops on the internet side, so the games just kept disconnecting.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so it just took a very long time to actually finish the tournament. I think it took an extra like 3 or 4 hours to finish the tournament.
Oh man.
So a lot of players just got really tired. I think I passed out at one point. I was playing with Roy in that tournament. I think he actually, I passed out on the table. I think he passed out under the table.
Yeah, I can imagine that actually.
So we pretty much, I think a lot of teams ran out of energy by the time it was actually time to play their matches.
That's
So,
understandable. I mean, that's just
yeah.
unfortunate. But here's to hoping that that things will be much better this time around. I think it's also just boosting the efficiency of the setups too, and like getting it all, getting it together. Because I can imagine like when Vanilla Extreme Versus came out, that like trying to thinking of how to stream it was probably a challenge in itself. Like, what kind of setup are we going to use for this?
Oh yeah, it literally took, I want to say, like a year and a half before we had a full setup for streaming.
Yeah.
We started off with like 1 capture card, and then it went to 2, and then it went to 4.
Yeah, for a while we didn't even realize that we could use a hub to get blue connection. So we were playing on forced red connection.
Oh right.
Oh man.
That was quite terrible. And then the red connection was, we had bad connections like between the PS3s, followed by a bad connection from the PS3s to PSN. So it was just this stuttering mess for a while.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I mean,
how we figured it out.
that ended pretty fast. I want to say it only took like 2 weeks before we got the hub, but we were still on a red PSN connection for a pretty long time.
How did you get that, guys? Get that ironed out, the red PSN connection?
Well, on our end, the problem was that we just had like a 56K internet connection for a while.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, that sort of ruins your connection to PSN.
Can't be helped sometimes with North American speeds.
Yeah.
Shout outs to the people at East Coast trying to get ranked matches in and raise their ranks.
Oh my gosh.
Like I know like some people who like they get so envious of me when I stream rank play or Brett streaming rank play, and they're just like, you're like, I hate you guys so much. I had to like spend like 2 to 3 times more time like trying to get actual matches, for
Every
that.
now and then we can even get a green game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sometimes that happens.
I get super excited when I get into a green or yellow game though. Like, yes, this is the dream. So we'll end off SCR on that, and just as a final part of the podcast, just since Maxi Boost, Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost came out in Japanese arcades about, I want to say 3 to 4 days ago, maybe 5. I'm not sure exactly. I know you guys haven't really looked into all the change logs and stuff, and that's fine. But we've been having some mixed impressions of the game from Japanese people, because I know several people in the community have made contact with people who've actually played the game. Can you go into a little bit more detail about that? Because obviously it is like it's a Gundam game on release, so there's the over time to get it balanced out and like smoothing out. But a lot of people seem to be very worried about this new overdrive system in Maxi Boost, and I know Tari was telling you about it earlier.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I thought that it was a broken system.
Right.
and that it
When
was
I
going to be
first saw it,
tweaked.
I had similar impressions. I was very concerned about the effect it would have on
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not good.
the game.
Yeah, I've been hearing like even some units being able to almost do 400 damage on just S overdrive alone with their arsenal. Like,
So apparently, there's a video. I've been told, I haven't seen it myself, but apparently there's a video of a red frame Kai
mhm.
getting hit and then going into F overdrive and then activating and going on this full cloth that literally just respawned and killing him instantly.
Oh my gosh,
Really?
really? Wow.
Isn't that like 680 damage?
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Oh my
So,
gosh, I have to see this video.
Literally what we've been hearing from Japanese players. Like, I haven't seen that video, so I don't know if it was like 1 or 2 hits. But even if it's 2 hits, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, either way,
But,
that shouldn't be happening.
What we've been hearing from Japanese players is that like the initial impression just from like looking at videos was that S overdrive was really powerful because of the like free cancels that you got on all of your ranged weapons and better redlock and all of that, right?
Mhm.
But after playing the game, the impressions we're getting from Japanese players is that F overdrive is the insane one. Like, you wouldn't think so just from like seeing the trailer video, but apparently it gives you increased melee chase range,
Mhm.
Really?
faster melee, faster movement, and higher damage. And they describe the damage as so much higher, it's unbelievable.
Oh man.
It also gives you guard crush, but I mean, who cares about that?
Yeah, who cares about that? You have all that free damage now when you're in F overdrive.
Yeah, so that's why you see people going into F overdrive and activating and just like doing insane things.
Yeah, I mean, it's also in F overdrive you can cancel your range shots straight into melee as well.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, man. I really don't know about this. I actually
It's okay though. It's okay though. God Gundam can ride Fun Psyche.
Do you know what other changes God Gundam got? All I know is he's
Oh, he got his left hand back.
Oh, you guys left hand back? Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I think they literally just gave him back his moveset from next because he was a 3K.
Does he get his Sekiha Godfinger?
That's what I don't know. I was asking people to test it for me, but I haven't got any answer. But yes, I really hope he has Sekiha Tenkyo Godfinger.
Tenkyo Godfinger.
I also watched a little clip today of an Exia going to the GN arms mode during EX burst and actually like rolling with that for a bit. That is the funniest thing ever. Like, it's so hilarious. It's so big and clunky. Like, yeah. Just,
so we were told last night that Infinite Justice can equip Meteor, and he can fly into the sky without boost and just like keep spinning into the sky forever.
Really?
No way.
Yeah, apparently he just like goes up, and then when he finally like, unequips it, he's just at like the top of the world without boost. He just like plummets to the ground really slowly.
It sounds like they didn't know what to do to make a next iteration, and they just decided to throw it against the wall, do whatever they wanted.
I really think the overdrive system was poorly thought out because I can imagine like the low tier suits for this game will be the ones that don't really get much benefit out of any of the overdrives.
So I was suggesting, well, also yeah, like I was talking to Brett about it the other day. He was saying Sousa and a couple of other like of those sort of not really good melee suits really don't get much from it because F drive is for like improving melee, but their melee isn't that good in the first place. And then S drive doesn't do anything for those suits because they don't have real ranged options.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it's going to do for example, Luna. What does she get from it? The ability to cancel all of your shots into themselves, so I guess she could fire like 3 mains in a row, but then she's out of ammo.
Yeah.
And then she can't Omicron anything because everything she does verniers her anyway.
Yeah. I can throw grenades, I guess.
But you're still verniered. I guess you could just like sit in the sky and be a turret for a good like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's not going to be all that useful as far as I can tell. I thought that the drive system was just going to be an alternate way to use your EX bar.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought the first time I heard that they were loc testing the game was only like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like they had a really short loc test period before they released this game to arcades. So it seems like probably they just didn't get enough feedback on anything.
I will say though that at least in Maxi Boost, like I really like the lighting of it now. Like it seems a lot more vibrant, like just colors wise,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
I think they boosted all of the colors.
yeah,
I was gonna say saturation, but I don't know if that's quite the right
I
way
don't
to
know if
put
that's
it.
right. Yeah, but I also like the how the beam projectiles look now. They're instead of like a straight like rectangle-ish thing that we have now, it's like more curved. I guess it's a good way to put it. It's like it looks more of like I don't know. It just looks nice. Maybe I'm just insane, but it looks nice to me. Like it's more noticeable like if you see Strike Noir gameplay in Maxi Boost, like when it does its AC somersault shots. Like
Oh.
that's when I first like noticed. It's like, oh man, that actually does look really nice.
I actually don't know too much. I haven't seen too much gameplay. I saw a few videos of Perfect Strike and Brave.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm not too familiar with it.
I've mostly been watching videos of layouts.
Oh, Perfect Laos?
Is it like Perfect Laos or is it Laos 2? I don't
Like,
remember.
Laos 2, Type 2 or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leo's Type 2, I believe.
In any case, he's quite quite the insane 3K suit.
Oh my gosh, that like I think him. Okay, of course the day one tiers don't really mean much, but I mean just initial impressions from what I heard from Japanese people was like they still like Wing Zero TV a lot. That's still a really good suit. Aside from its like one-time use per life zero system now, even though it lasts
Right.
longer.
It's
and-
only one time per life now. Huh?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
nerfed Zero system.
Yeah, but Leo's Type 2 or Type Leo's 2 or whatever like just seems super insane.
Yeah, like that suit, I just when I first saw it, I was just like, I don't understand. It feels like they literally took it's like they took like DX and Quanta and Strike Freedom and like all of the different extreme suits and they put them all together into one suit and they called it reasonable.
That's essentially what happened.
Because like when he's in his third form or whatever it's called, and he shoots his BR, it auto guards. It forms the Quanta shield in front of him.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, so things that hit him during that just get blocked. He just automatically cancels into a block.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
man.
I didn't even know like you can form change in Type Leos too. I thought it just had like wait, isn't it just like a time power up or?
I don't know exactly how it works, but for example, he can also do like his like Shishihoku combos. He can do not Shishihoku, he can do Leos knuckle combos. There you go, pile bunkers.
Oh, okay.
Like the arm guards on his like suit come off, and then he just turns into like a fist fighting machine again. It's just like he has everything. You never see anyone do it because his Garovis are so good, though.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, to
Well.
be fair.
I mean, his suit design is just take everything from other suits.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the ultimate suit. It's I think story-wise, it was like Sesha decided to give him an upgraded suit by mixing all of his suits together with all of the technology he's gotten or something.
Right.
Great. Thanks, Bamco. That's what we needed in this game, obviously.
Have you seen the final boss for the game yet?
Yes, I love it. So I don't know.
Evil Sesha.
Yeah, Dark Evil Stesia rises.
But it's not actually Sesha.
Wait, what? You lost me.
So people were telling me that it's Sesha and she's evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I watched the arcade route, and the entire arcade route, it's played with Leos Type 2. And the
Of course.
entire thing is just at the end of every single map, Leos is like, "Where are you, Sesha? Where are you? I'm coming to find you." And then he gets to the end, and the final boss shows up, and he's like, and then he like sees her, and he's like, "You're not Sesha." And she goes, "I am the real Sesha. I'll show you my power or whatever." And they fight. And then after he beats her, he's like, "You must know where she is. Tell me where the real Sesha is." I'm just like, oh my god.
Quality Bamco writing right there.
I'm just like, oh my god.
I do. Hey, I'm all up for Dark Stesia if she becomes a Navi option in the game.
Yeah.
Please. I just don't understand how the story is working. It's just like she's an AI, but now she has a body, and it's an evil person that's inhabiting the body. But what?
It's
Maybe
Gundam.
one day someone will actually take the time to translate the Exa manga, and I
I
think
hope so.
it's getting a sequel to like Exa Versus or something that starts up like next month, I believe, if not this month.
Oh man, all I know is that I want them to. All I know is that I want. Yeah, I want someone to translate that, or I want it to become like an anime or something. I would totally watch it. It
I
sounds
would totally
hilarious.
watch
Like I
it. I
said.
mean, yeah, I would probably crack up every episode. No lie.
It sounds like a Gundam fan thing. It doesn't even sound like a legitimate Gundam at all.
I'm totally okay with
I mean,
that.
he's traveling from one Gundam universe to the next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up fan service.
I want them to make an anime of it soon because they need to do it before they can no longer get the voice actors.
I know, right? Nah, I'm pretty sure no, even if they couldn't get the voice actors, they'll just, I bet you they have like the
Yeah, they'll
backups
just
for
get
everyone.
doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way that like ev- I'm pretty sure everyone has like a backup. Like every Gundam character, no matter how like small they are, has like a backup somewhere. And the off chance they ever want to milk it more. But that's basically the news on Maxi Boost. But let's be fair though, and Full Boost and Release wasn't the most balanced game either.
No, Full Boost Unreleased did have some issues, but I want to say Full Boost had less issues actually than Vanilla on release.
Really?
Did you ever hear about Caradum?
No, I didn't.
Caradum was the most amazing suit.
Why?
So apparently, when the game came out, Caradum had infinite red lock and infinite muzzle correction.
In Full Boost arcade release?
No, in vanilla.
In Vanilla?
Yeah, infinite red lock with infinite muzzle correction.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
So the game would start and people would just like boost sideways and get shot.
yeah.
So if you guys thought EXS's reflector incoms were bad at release or Full Boost,
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's what Caradum used to be.
they took the Caradum source code and put it to EXS.
And then they had to nerf it again.
Yeah,
Um,
it's okay. We got a free Navi out of it.
That I
yay.
don't use.
I don't use her either.
Yeah, me neither. I don't care about Soma. So, but yeah, hopefully by the time we get a Maxi Boost console port, whether it's PS3 or PS4, within how many years, I'm like, I heard that like they didn't really get a decent balance for Full Boost out until like June 2013 for arcade Full Boost at least when they finally like toned down
Nerfed Banshee.
Yeah, toned down Banshee to like a respectable degree after its third time.
Yeah. So I'm willing to give them
The benefit of the
Whatever.
doubt. Yeah.
benefit of the doubt that they'll fix it, but I don't know. Maybe they were just backed up against deadlines and they had to meet it one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll give them some time. It's not like it matters to us really anyway for now.
Yeah, we can be as patient as we want.
All right, thank you for being in this episode, guys. I mean, I really appreciate it. You guys being here and giving everyone some tips and some info on SCR and basically what we all watched and trying to digest all that info and just getting an insider's perspective, like competitive Extreme versus Full Boost. Is there anything else you guys wanted to plug in?
I mean, I guess as usual, if anyone's interested in the game, they can head over to the Dustloop forums. We pretty much all look at that and respond to questions or concerns or
Yeah.
general discussion.
I
yeah,
mean,
and I think all of us stream Gundam fairly frequently. Well,
Oh,
okay, Nathan doesn't stream, but he's on my stream fairly frequently.
okay.
You want to give out the link to your Twitch where you can find you on your stream?
It's too much effort to spell it out.
Okay, I'll
You
just.
want it? Yoane Haku?
If people know what that is, then that means that they're nerdy enough to find my stream.
Just give me the link and I'll put it in the description too. How about
All right,
that?
sure.
And then, like they said, we're all here, residents of Dustloop. If you want to learn more about the game, just head on over to dustloop.com to the Gundam Extreme versus forum, and there's a lot of info there that you can just digest and get into the game. Other than that, though, once again, it's just I'm really excited for the future of this game, and I really hope a lot more people get into it.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited that there's been as much interest as there has been.
Yeah, I'm hoping like if anyone's interested in the game, I hope they're willing to just well, if we have tournament presence, then hopefully they'll just stop by, try the game out and see if they like it.
It's really interesting too that like a lot of people from Next and Next Plus are also they skip vanilla, but they're getting back into full boost. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I mean, I think the introduced the new suits that were introduced are helping in that regard as well. A lot of people found suits that they liked that were removed from vanilla, like
yeah.
Epion.
Yeah, Epion's been pretty popular.
For better or worse. No, it's cool. I kind of wanted to see an Epion there, to be honest, just to see how long
Yeah,
they'd
I
last.
actually feel like it would have been nice to see an Epion at the tournament. I don't feel like a lot of people who are playing the game are that comfortable with the melee rushdown, so Epion actually might have had a pretty decent run at SCR.
Yeah, especially the Kasi players. The Kasi players, I don't think would know what to do against an Epion rushing them down for the most part.
Going to Minovsky and Garobi.
Epion, no, please come back. My whip can't reach. But yeah, that's the episode of the Fuwacast. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time, and we'll see what the topics are. I actually haven't made the next topics for the next Fuwacast episode, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Until then,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us, man.